Hi, welcome to the Arctic Circle in Norway. I'm Jorn. This is my Land Rover. I'm living in it for this year, traveling around Europe. So let's talk about recovery gear today. What do you actually need to go overlanding in Europe? Well, and the first thing is very simple. You don't really need anything. You know, if you don't have the money to take any stuff, just get out there, buy fuel, go have fun. But if you want to go off-road, you're gonna get stuck, which is fine, it's all part of it. But if you get stuck, you might want to have some stuff with you to get out. So what you want to take and how much stuff you want to take is all up to you. Depends on how crazy you are gonna go, right, where you're gonna go, what you want to do, and also how much you want to spend. But roughly there are two scenarios that you can cover. So the first one is you're like me. You're a solo traveler, you travel alone, you do crazy stuff and you get yourself stuck quite often. You might need a little bit different stuff compared to the second group. So the second group is people that either travel in a Mercedes van or something like that, that don't do crazy stuff, right? They might get stuck, but they will get stuck in places where other people are, or people who travel in groups. Right? Because if you're traveling with more people, you don't need to recover yourself, you can have some help from somebody else. So let's talk about that second group first, right? So in order for you to help somebody else out, or in order for somebody else to help you out, you need rated recovery points. The standard tow hook that you've got will not do, because it is meant for towing. You might be thinking, you know, the big recovery trucks pull people out of ditches all the time and all those people don't have recovery points. That's true. The vehicle is already broken. They're not gonna care if they bend your tie rods or your axle gets fucked or something like that. But if you're traveling and you want to get out of a hairy situation, you want to keep your vehicle in one piece. So that's also why it's important to get a proper good recovery point. You need to know the rating of these because everything else needs to be weaker than this, right? If your recovery point can handle 30 tons, you can put a 25-ton strap on it. If your recovery point can only handle 10 tons, you cannot put an 11-ton strap on it because this is metal. If this goes flying, people will die. So you always want the weakest point to be something that is not the recovery point. Righto. So you need front recovery point so that other people can pull you out. You want to have some recovery point in the rear so you can pull other people out. Like I said, tow ball, not a recovery point. So for example, the Snatch Strap has an 11-ton braking limit. That is much more than the tow hook can hold. Righto. So that's step one. If you cannot afford anything else, get recovery points and hope that somebody else has the straps and all that stuff for you. Now that you've got recovery points, we need to find a way to attach another vehicle to your rig, or your rig to another vehicle. That's where these come in. These are called Shackles. They are rated. So you can see the small one is 3¼ ton, the big one is 4¾ tons. These are working loads, so the braking load is 7 times as much. So this one will only break once you put 30 tons or more on it, which is good, because whatever you attach this to, you want this to be very secure. Because if these go flying, they will kill somebody. So be very careful when using this and make sure that you attach them in the proper method. So for example, never use them to attach 2 straps together. Because if one of these straps breaks, this will go flying. If it hits somebody, you will kill them. That's where these come in. These are soft shackles. If these go flying and hit somebody, it will hurt. It will hurt them very bad. They will get a very big bruise, maybe a concussion, but they will live. And living is good. These are rated. These are rated for braking strength. So I've got a big one and a small one here. The small one that I've got here will break at 7 tons. I've got this in case I need to recover a smaller vehicle or a vehicle that only has the screw-in hooks. Because the screw-in hooks are usually rated to 7½ tons. So what we're hoping is that this will break before the hook comes out and kills somebody. The big one that I've got here is rated for 12 tons. So we can use this to attach straps together, or we can use this to attach directly to the vehicle. But you have to be careful with them, because these are not very good when you have very high bend radiuses, right? So when you're attaching this to something, make sure there are no sharp edges and make sure that it has a solid radius to pull on. These don't matter how you pull them. You can pull them like this, you can pull them like this, doesn't matter. These you always want to pull this way. You never want to pull this way, right? So always make sure that the strap or the vehicle attachment point is in the shackle. So you might be wondering, why does he have big shackles, small shackles, big soft shackles, small soft shackles? That's because I like to be able to help other people out, right? If I come across a very small car that's stuck, and I can't fit this in on their vehicle somewhere, I might be able to fit this. You don't need to. Just grab the stuff you need for your car. So probably 1 or 2 big of the hard shackles, and depending on what type of recovery points you've got, 1 or 2 of the soft shackles. This is called a Snatch Strap. It's a kinetic rope. It has a little stretch, which means that you will put less shock load on the vehicle. Right? So you take up the drive, take up the slack, it stretches a little bit, and then it comes back together like a rubber band. This is 11 tons, which is good if you have a heavy rig like mine. If you're gonna attach this to something like a chimney, you will not get a lot of stretch, right? The chimney is too light, and it will be basically as if you're pulling it with this or with this, right? So, but if you're traveling with other people, that's the only thing you need. You need a strap, and you need something to attach them all together. That's the bare minimum, right? Have enough stuff with you so that if you find somebody else, they can pull you out, right? Because you might be able to find another car passing by, but they will not have the recovery straps, the connection hooks and all that stuff. You can get yourself out, providing you have another vehicle. If you want to do soft roading, right? So you're not gonna go do crazy stuff, but you might want to get yourself stuck, and you might get yourself in a situation where you need to recover yourself. These are probably the most versatile tool you can have. They are easy to carry, they're pretty light, and they work in sand, snow, mud, rocks, pretty much any situation. You can see mine is already decently used. I've got some bent teeth. You can see I've got a little bit of melt going on. That's fine, they will work. So what these do is you use them as a shovel, dig out whatever's in front of your tires, stick them in, and it will give you a solid surface to drive out of. The first step towards self-recovery, these I highly recommend. So if you're traveling alone, all those recovery points are not going to do you much good. Max tracks or traction boards are very good, but they're not perfect, and sometimes you just run out. In those cases you might want to have a winch. Most overlanders will tell you, hey, you don't need a winch, I have never used mine, and I think that's true. If you're sensible about it and you don't drive into stupid places where you know you're likely to get stuck, you will never need a winch in your life. I have used mine quite a bit, so depending on the type of driving you do and the type of places you want to go, you might want a winch. The one thing you do need if you get a winch is a tree protector, which is basically a very short strap. This one rated to 14 tons. So what you do is you put this around the tree, hook it through here, and then you can start pulling. If this breaks, that metal hook is coming right at you. So you want to be sensible about it. My winch is rated for 5.5 tons. The strap is rated for 14. Should be okay. So if you get this and a winch, you can pull yourself out of most places. But if you're going to spend all that money on a winch, you might want a few extra things as well. So I've used my winch to remove fallen trees off the track quite a lot. If you want to pull a tree in another direction than into your vehicle, you need one of these. This is a snatch block. They open up like this, close like this, you put a shackle through it, and then you can pull on an angle. So what you can do is you find another tree off the side of the track, put this on it, cable goes through, and then you can pull the tree off the track. You can also use this to double the pulling power of your winch. So you attach this to the tree, put the cable through, attach the winch to your vehicle again. You have twice the pulling power, but it will take twice as long to pull in all the rope. Useful tool. I've only used this once, right? You're not likely to get yourself stuck enough that the standard winch won't do, but you know, it's a cheap thing to have. You also have ring forms of these. They work with soft shackles. These only work with the hard shackles, with the metal shackles. So these are a little bit less safe, but you know, good enough for me. Then you've got a winch. I think this one has about 20 meters of rope on it. If your tree, if the only tree that you can pull on is 30 meters away, you are going to be in a world of hurt. That is where these come in. This is an extension strap. This is 25 meters long. I think this is rated to 11 tons. Let me have a check. Oh yeah. Every strap should have a label like this telling you the rating. If it doesn't have a rating on it, it's crap. You can throw it away. Make sure that these are rated for more than your winch can pull, like a lot more. So this is a 12-ton strap. I used to have a 4-ton strap, which was a bad idea because this winch can put 5 tons of pressure down. So obviously a winch is a very long line that's pulled up, and on the end is a hook. If you attach that hook to an extension strap and something breaks, that hook will go flying. And that hook is metal and it will kill somebody. So whenever you're winching, you want to use one of these. This does two things. First, if you're winching over a road or something, this will show other drivers that there is a line over the road. The second thing this will do is if the line snaps and it starts flying around, it should get caught on this and it should fall to the ground instead of flying off in whichever direction you want. Whenever you're winching, make sure that there is plenty of space around you, that there's nobody within the danger zone. Never step over the cable if it's taut and all that stuff. You know, you should probably watch an entire video on winching and all the stuff you can do with it, but it is an option. I've used mine quite a lot. A lot of overlanders don't. It's up to you to decide whether you need one or not. Alright, I think that marks the video. See you next time.